In a bustling city, where the streets were alive with the sounds of laughter and chatter, there was a quaint little diner known as Sunnyside Eats. This diner was a beloved spot for locals, famous for its hearty breakfasts and warm atmosphere. The walls were adorned with photographs of happy customers and memories shared over meals. Among the staff was a young waitress named Maya, a bright and ambitious woman with dreams that stretched far beyond the confines of the diner. Maya had been working at Sunnyside Eats for over 2 years, juggling her job while attending college. She was known for her infectious smile and her ability to make every customer feel special. Her passion for serving others was evident in every interaction, and many regulars would come specifically to see her. However, beneath her cheerful demeanor lay a story of resilience and strength, shaped by experiences that had tested her spirit. One sunny Saturday morning, the diner was particularly busy. The aroma of freshly brewed coffee filled the air as customers flocked in for their weekend brunch. Maya was in her element, skillfully balancing trays laden with pancakes and omelets while exchanging friendly banter with patrons. But as she approached a table occupied by 3 men, she sensed an unsettling shift in the atmosphere. The men were loud and boisterous, their laughter echoing through the diner. As Maya approached, she greeted them with her usual warmth. "Good morning. What can I get started for you today?" she asked, her smile unwavering despite the uneasy feeling creeping into her gut. Instead of responding to her greeting, one of the men looked her up and down with an expression that dripped with disdain. "What do you want, girl?" he sneered, his voice dripping with condescension. Maya's heart sank. She had encountered rude customers before, but this felt different. The other 2 men chuckled mockingly at their friend's comment. Maya took a deep breath, reminding herself to remain professional. "I'm here to take your order," she replied calmly, forcing a smile despite the knot tightening in her stomach. "Yeah? Well, we don't want anything from you," another man chimed in, his tone laced with hostility. "Why don't you go back to where you came from?" The words struck Maya like a punch to the gut. She felt tears welling up in her eyes, but fought to keep them at bay. This wasn't just a casual insult. It was a reminder of all the prejudice she had faced throughout her life, an ugly reminder that some people still harbored deep-seated racism. As she stood there, trying to maintain her composure, she noticed other customers glancing over, some looking uncomfortable while others seemed to be enjoying the spectacle. It was as if they were watching a scene unfold that they could easily ignore, but chose not to intervene. "Is there anything I can get for you?" Maya asked again, her voice trembling slightly but still holding on to hope that they might change their tone. "Yeah," one of them said with a smirk. "How about you bring us someone who can actually serve us? We don't want you here." Maya felt the heat rising in her cheeks as humiliation washed over her. She turned away from their table, fighting back tears as she walked toward the kitchen. The laughter from their table echoed in her ears like a cruel soundtrack to her pain. In the kitchen, she leaned against the counter, taking deep breaths to steady herself. Her co-workers noticed something was wrong. They had seen how those men treated her. One of them, Sarah, a seasoned waitress who had become like an older sister to Maya, approached her immediately. "Maya, are you okay?" Sarah asked gently, concern etched on her face. Maya shook her head, unable to speak through the lump in her throat. The tears she had fought so hard to hold back began streaming down her cheeks. "They were so rude," she finally managed to say between sobs. Sarah wrapped an arm around Maya's shoulders, offering comfort amidst the chaos of orders being shouted and plates clattering around them. "You're stronger than this," Sarah said softly. "Don't let them get to you." But as Maya stood there in that moment of vulnerability, she couldn't shake off the feeling of defeat that settled heavily on her heart. She had always believed in kindness and understanding, yet here she was, facing hate in its rawest form. Little did she know that what happened next would change everything, a twist of fate that would serve justice in ways she never imagined possible. The incident. As Maya stood in the kitchen, her heart raced with a mix of anger and sadness. She wiped her tears away, trying to regain her composure. Sarah remained by her side, offering silent support as they both listened to the sounds of the diner, the clinking of dishes, the sizzling of bacon on the grill, and the cheerful chatter of other customers who were completely oblivious to what had just transpired. "Do you want me to talk to them?" Sarah finally asked, her voice firm with determination. "They have no right to treat you like that." Maya shook her head vigorously. "No, Sarah. I don't want to cause a scene. I just want to do my job." But deep down she felt a flicker of hope that perhaps someone would stand up for her. Just then the manager, Mr. Thompson, walked into the kitchen, his brow furrowed with concern. He had been watching the situation unfold from a distance. "Maya, are you all right?" he asked gently. She forced a smile, trying to mask her pain. "I'm fine, Mr. Thompson. Just a rough table." He looked at her skeptically, clearly not convinced. "You know you can come to me if there's any trouble. I won't tolerate disrespect towards my staff." Maya nodded appreciatively but felt a pang of guilt for even bringing attention to herself. She didn't want to be seen as weak or as someone who couldn't handle rude customers. After all, she had dealt with difficult people before. This was just another challenge. Taking a deep breath, she decided it was time to return to the dining area. She couldn't let those men ruin her day or her passion for serving others. As she stepped back into the main room, she steeled herself for whatever might come next. The three men were still at their table, laughing loudly and making crude jokes that echoed through the diner. Maya approached them again, determined to maintain professionalism despite their earlier comments. "Have you decided on your order?" she asked with a forced smile. One of the men looked up at her with an exaggerated expression of surprise, as if he had forgotten she existed. "Oh, look! It's our favorite waitress," he exclaimed mockingly. "What was your name again?" "Oh, right. Maya, the girl who can't take a joke." Maya felt heat rise in her cheeks again, but kept her voice steady. "I'm here to help you with your order," she replied firmly. "Yeah? Well, we don't want anything from you," he said dismissively. "Why don't you go get us some real service? You know, someone who knows how to treat customers right?" The other two men laughed uproariously at their friend's comment, and Maya felt her heart sink further. It was as if they were enjoying every moment of her discomfort, feeding off it like vultures circling their prey. "Is there someone else I can get for you?" Maya asked, trying to defuse the situation without escalating it further. "Oh no," one of them said with a smirk. "We want you. We want to see how low you can go." Maya's stomach churned at their words. She could feel tears threatening to spill over again, but fought against them with all her might. She was determined not to give them the satisfaction of seeing her break down. "Please just tell me what you'd like," she said softly, hoping that perhaps if she remained calm and professional, they would eventually relent. Instead, one of them leaned back in his chair and said loudly enough for everyone in the diner to hear, "We'll take our chances with takeout instead. I wouldn't trust a girl like you to serve us anything decent." The laughter erupted again from their table, and Maya felt every eye in the diner turn toward her, some in sympathy and others in morbid curiosity. It was an unbearable moment that seemed to stretch on forever. Just then, an older couple seated nearby exchanged glances, filled with concern and disbelief at how Maya was being treated. The woman leaned over toward Maya's table and said loudly enough for everyone to hear, "You're doing a great job. Don't let them get to you." Her words seemed like a small beacon of hope amidst the darkness surrounding Maya's experience that morning. But before she could respond or express gratitude, one of the men shot back at the couple. "Mind your own business. This is between us." The tension in the diner escalated as more patrons began murmuring among themselves about what was happening at that table. It felt like an electric charge hung in the air, a collective awareness that something needed to change. Maya took another deep breath and turned back toward the kitchen once more. She needed a moment away from their taunts and jeers before she completely lost herself in despair. Once inside, Sarah immediately noticed Maya's distress and rushed over again. "You need to take a break," Sarah insisted, gently but firmly. "I can't," Maya replied shakily. "I need this job." "Maya," Sarah said softly but with urgency in her voice, "you deserve respect just like anyone else here. No job is worth this kind of treatment." Before Maya could respond, Mr. Thompson entered the kitchen again with his phone in hand, his expression serious as he glanced back toward the dining area, where the three men were still laughing raucously. "I've called security," he announced decisively. "I won't allow anyone in my diner to treat my staff this way." Maya's heart swelled with gratitude at his words. It was comforting to know that someone had her back in this moment of crisis. As security arrived moments later, a tall man with an authoritative presence, the atmosphere shifted dramatically within Sunnyside Eats. The laughter from the men faded into nervous glances as they realized they were about to be confronted. Mr. Thompson approached their table directly while security stood close by, ready for any escalation that might occur. "Gentlemen," Mr. Thompson began firmly but calmly, "we have a zero-tolerance policy for harassment here at Sunnyside Eats." He gestured toward Maya standing behind him, a symbol of resilience despite what had just happened. The men exchanged glances filled with disbelief and indignation, but didn't dare speak out against Mr. Thompson or security standing beside him. "You will leave this establishment immediately," Mr. Thompson continued without hesitation. "Your behavior is unacceptable." "But we were just joking," one man protested weakly as he attempted to salvage his pride amidst growing embarrassment. "Jokes don't come at someone else's expense," Mr. Thompson replied sternly as security moved closer toward them, ready to escort them out if necessary. In that moment, Maya felt an overwhelming sense of relief wash over her as she watched justice unfold before her eyes, a reminder that kindness could prevail even against hate. As security led the three men out of Sunnyside Eats amidst their protests and grumbling, Maya felt something shift within herself too. It was as if she had regained control over her narrative after feeling so powerless just moments before. When they finally left, and silence returned, the diner erupted into applause from patrons who had witnessed everything unfold, a show of solidarity for Maya and all those who faced discrimination daily. Tears filled Maya's eyes once more, but this time they were tears of gratitude and empowerment rather than sorrow or defeat. She realized how important it was, not only for herself, but also for others who might find themselves facing similar situations down the line, to stand up against injustice together. With newfound strength coursing through her veins, Maya stepped forward into view once more, her heart swelling with appreciation for those who supported her during such trying times. Aftermath. The applause in Sunnyside Eats echoed in Maya's ears like a soothing balm, washing away the sting of the earlier confrontation. As she stood there, surrounded by supportive patrons and her co-workers, she felt a wave of gratitude envelop her. For the first time that day, she allowed herself to breathe deeply, letting the tension that had gripped her body begin to dissipate. Mr. Thompson approached her with a warm smile, his eyes filled with pride. "You handled yourself incredibly well, Maya," he said, placing a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "I'm proud to have you on my team." "Thank you, Mr. Thompson," she replied, her voice still shaky but filled with newfound strength. I didn't expect that kind of reaction." "That's because you're a good person who believes in treating others with respect," he said. "But remember, it's okay to lean on others when you need support. You don't have to face everything alone." Maya nodded, feeling a sense of camaraderie with her co-workers and the patrons who had stood up for her. It was a reminder that kindness still existed in the world, even amidst the darkness. As the diner returned to its usual rhythm, plates clattering and laughter filling the air, Maya took a moment to collect herself in the kitchen. Sarah joined her, leaning against the counter with a knowing smile. "You did amazing out there," Sarah said, her eyes sparkling with admiration. "I can't believe how quickly Mr. Thompson stepped in. It's nice to know we have his support." Maya chuckled softly, wiping away the last remnants of tears from her cheeks. "I didn't think I would feel this way after everything," she admitted. "It's just, I've faced rude customers before, but this was different." "I get it," Sarah replied sympathetically. "It hits harder when it's personal. But remember, you're not defined by how others treat you. You're strong and capable. Never forget that." Maya felt a warmth spread through her chest at Sarah's words. It was true. She had always prided herself on her resilience and ability to rise above negativity. Yet today had shaken her more than she anticipated. As the lunch rush continued, Maya found herself reflecting on what had happened earlier. The incident had stirred up emotions she thought she had buried long ago. Memories of being judged or dismissed based on superficial traits rather than her character or abilities. During quieter moments between tables, she took time to process everything that had transpired. She realized that while racism and discrimination were painful realities in society, they also highlighted the importance of solidarity and standing up for one another. A few hours later, as the lunch crowd began to dwindle and the sun dipped lower in the sky outside, Maya found herself sitting at a booth with Sarah during their break. The diner was quieter now, allowing them space to talk without interruptions. "I've been thinking," Maya started hesitantly, "about how important it is for us to speak out against things like what happened today." Sarah nodded encouragingly. "Absolutely. We can't let people think they can get away with treating others poorly just because they feel entitled." Maya took a deep breath before continuing. "I want to do more than just stand up for myself. I want to help others who might be facing similar situations." "That's a beautiful sentiment," Sarah replied warmly. "You have such a kind heart, Maya. Maybe we could organize something like an awareness campaign or community event." Maya's eyes lit up at the idea. "That could be amazing. We could invite local organizations focused on equality and inclusion to share their messages." "Exactly!" Sarah exclaimed enthusiastically. "We could use our platform here at Sunnyside Eats to promote understanding and compassion among our customers." As they brainstormed ideas for their initiative, Maya felt invigorated by the prospect of turning her painful experience into something positive, a way to uplift others instead of allowing hatred to define her narrative. The rest of their shift passed quickly as they worked side by side, their spirits lifted by their shared mission. With each order they served and each smile exchanged with customers, Maya felt a renewed sense of purpose. By closing time that evening, word had spread throughout the diner about what had happened earlier in the day, and many patrons expressed their support for Maya and her initiative. One regular customer named Mrs. Jenkins approached Maya as she wiped down tables near the entrance. "I just wanted to say how proud I am of you for standing your ground today," she said warmly. "Thank you so much," Maya replied sincerely. "It means a lot to me." Mrs. Jenkins smiled knowingly before adding, "You're not alone in this fight. You have all of us behind you." Maya's heart swelled with gratitude once again. It was moments like these that reminded her why she loved working at Sunnyside Eats, a place where community thrived amidst adversity. As they closed up for the night and locked up the diner doors behind them, Maya felt lighter than she had all day. A sense of hope blossoming within her heart as they discussed plans for their upcoming awareness campaign. "Let's meet tomorrow after our shift," Sarah suggested excitedly, as they walked toward their cars parked nearby under the dim streetlights illuminating their path home. "Definitely," Maya agreed enthusiastically. "I can't wait to start planning." As she drove home that evening, her mind buzzing with ideas for their initiative, Maya reflected on how far she'd come since starting at Sunnyside Eats 2 years ago, from being an uncertain college student juggling work and studies to now feeling empowered enough to advocate for change within her community. That night, as she lay in bed staring at the ceiling above, she couldn't shake off an overwhelming sense of determination coursing through her veins. It was time for action, not just for herself, but for everyone who faced discrimination every day. Little did she know that this journey would lead not only toward healing, but also toward creating lasting change within both herself and those around her. Karma strikes. The next few days were a whirlwind of activity for Maya and Sarah as they dove headfirst into planning their awareness campaign. They met after every shift at Sunnyside Eats, brainstorming ideas, reaching out to local organizations, and rallying support from their coworkers. Their goal was to create a community event that would promote inclusivity, kindness, and respect for all individuals, regardless of their background. Maya felt a renewed sense of purpose as she poured her heart into this project. Each meeting brought new ideas and enthusiasm, and soon they had a solid plan in place. They decided to host an Inclusivity Day at Sunnyside Eats, inviting local advocacy groups to set up booths, share information, and engage with the community. They also planned to feature speakers who could share their experiences with discrimination and the importance of standing up against it. As word spread about the event, excitement grew within the diner and the surrounding community. Regular customers began asking how they could help or participate. Many offered to volunteer their time or resources, eager to support Maya's initiative. One evening, as they finalized details for Inclusivity Day, Maya received a message from Mr. Thompson. He wanted to meet with her and Sarah to discuss how the diner could further support their cause. When they gathered in his office, he surprised them with an announcement. "I want to sponsor your event," he said with a smile. "We'll provide free food for everyone who attends and promote it through our social media channels." Maya's heart soared at his generosity. "Thank you so much. That means a lot to us," she replied, overwhelmed with gratitude. "I believe in what you're doing," Mr. Thompson continued. "It's important for businesses like ours to stand up against discrimination and support our community." With Mr. Thompson's backing, Maya and Sarah felt invigorated. They worked tirelessly over the next few weeks, finalizing logistics, reaching out to speakers, and creating promotional materials. The diner became a hub of activity as they prepared for Inclusivity Day. As the date approached, Maya couldn't help but feel a mix of excitement and nervousness. She wanted everything to go perfectly. This event was more than just a campaign. It was a chance to create change and foster understanding in her community. On the day of Inclusivity Day, Sunnyside Eats was transformed into a vibrant celebration of diversity. Colorful banners adorned the walls. Tables were set up with information about various advocacy organizations, and a stage was prepared for speakers throughout the day. Maya arrived early to help set up alongside Sarah and other volunteers. The atmosphere buzzed with energy as people began to trickle in. Families, friends, and supporters all eager to participate in this important event. As the day unfolded, Maya felt an overwhelming sense of pride watching her vision come to life. She moved from booth to booth, engaging with attendees and sharing her story about why this event mattered so much to her. The speakers were powerful. Each shared personal experiences that resonated deeply with the audience. Stories of resilience in the face of adversity and the importance of solidarity among communities. When it was finally Maya's turn to speak, she stood on stage before a crowd that had gathered in support. Her heart raced as she looked out at familiar faces, friends from work, regular customers who had shown their support during her ordeal, and even some newcomers who had heard about Inclusivity Day through word of mouth. "Thank you all for being here today," she began, her voice steady despite her nerves. "This event is not just about me. It's about all of us coming together to stand against discrimination in any form." She shared her experience from that fateful day at Sunnyside Eats, the hurt she felt, but also how it had ignited a fire within her to advocate for change. "We must remember that our words have power," she continued passionately. "We can choose kindness over hate. We can choose understanding over ignorance." The crowd erupted into applause as she concluded her speech, feeling empowered by her words and their collective commitment to fostering inclusivity within their community. As the day progressed, Maya noticed several familiar faces among the attendees, people who had been present during her ordeal with the racist customers weeks earlier. They approached her throughout the day, expressing their admiration for what she was doing and sharing their own stories of discrimination or witnessing similar incidents. But amidst all the positivity surrounding Inclusivity Day, news began circulating among patrons about what had happened to those three men who had treated Maya so poorly weeks earlier. It turned out that after being escorted out of Sunnyside Eats on that fateful day, they had faced consequences beyond just being asked to leave the diner. Word spread quickly through social media about their behavior toward Maya, a backlash that led many locals to boycott any establishment associated with them. The men were known in town for having owned a small bar nearby, a place that had garnered its own share of controversy due to its reputation for fostering an unwelcoming environment toward certain groups within the community. As people began sharing their experiences online, highlighting instances where they had witnessed or experienced similar behavior at that bar, the pressure mounted on those men like never before. Within days following Inclusivity Day, a petition circulated demanding accountability from them regarding their actions, not just toward Maya, but also toward anyone else who had been subjected to their disdainful treatment over time. The bar owners found themselves facing mounting public scrutiny. Patrons began leaving negative reviews online, while others took it upon themselves to contact local media outlets, sharing stories about how they too had been mistreated there. As news outlets picked up on these stories, the narrative shifted dramatically against those men who once thought they could act without consequence. Suddenly, they were thrust into an unwanted spotlight, a far cry from their previous bravado when mocking others without fear of repercussion. Maya watched this unfold from afar, her heart swelling with satisfaction, knowing that karma was indeed striking back against those who perpetuated hate, while simultaneously uplifting voices calling out for change within society. Inclusivity Day proved not only transformative for Maya personally, but also served as a catalyst, igniting conversations around equality throughout town, sparking discussions about respect across various demographics. As weeks passed following Inclusivity Day, Maya continued receiving messages from attendees expressing gratitude for what she had initiated. Many shared how inspired they felt by her courage, wanting now more than ever to take action themselves whenever witnessing acts of discrimination or injustice unfold before them. Maya realized that while she had faced adversity head-on, it was through unity among individuals willing to stand together against such injustices that real progress could be made. In time, the bar owned by those three men eventually closed its doors permanently, a testament not only against their behavior, but also highlighting how collective voices could indeed make waves when standing united. As she reflected upon everything that transpired since that fateful day at Sunnyside Eats, Maya felt empowered knowing she had turned pain into purpose, while also inspiring others along this journey toward creating lasting change. Conclusion and reflection. As the dust settled after Inclusivity Day, Maya found herself reflecting on the journey she had embarked upon since that painful encounter with the three men at Sunnyside Eats. The event had not only brought awareness to issues of discrimination, but had also fostered a sense of community that she had never experienced before. People were coming together, sharing their stories, and standing up for one another in ways that filled her heart with hope. In the weeks following Inclusivity Day, Maya continued to receive messages from attendees who expressed how inspired they felt by her courage. Many shared their own experiences with discrimination and how they were motivated to take action in their own lives. It became clear to Maya that her story resonated with others, igniting a spark of change within her community. One afternoon, as she was finishing her shift at Sunnyside Eats, Mr. Thompson called her into his office. "Maya, I wanted to talk to you about something important," he said, his expression serious yet warm. "Sure. What's up?" Maya asked, curious. "I've been thinking about how successful Inclusivity Day was and how it brought our community together," he began. "I'd like to make this an annual event, something we can build on each year to promote inclusivity and understanding." Maya's eyes widened in surprise and excitement. "Really? That would be amazing. I'd love to help organize it again." Mr. Thompson smiled. "I knew you would. Together we can create a platform for voices that need to be heard and continue fostering a culture of respect here at Sunnyside Eats." With renewed energy, Maya dove into planning for next year's event. She reached out to local organizations and speakers who had participated in Inclusivity Day, eager to expand their reach and impact even further. The conversations she had sparked during that initial event continued to flourish as more people joined the movement for change. As time went on, Maya also noticed shifts within her own mindset. The experience of standing up against racism had transformed her. She felt more empowered than ever to advocate for herself and others. She began volunteering with local organizations focused on social justice, using her voice to raise awareness about issues affecting marginalized communities. One day, while volunteering at a community center, Maya met a young girl named Aisha, who was struggling with bullying at school due to her background. The moment Maya heard Aisha's story, she felt an immediate connection, a reminder of her own experiences growing up. "Hey, Aisha," Maya said gently as they sat down together in a quiet corner of the center. "I know it can be really tough sometimes when people don't understand us or treat us unfairly." Aisha looked up at Maya with wide eyes, searching for reassurance. "But why do they do that?" she asked softly. Maya took a deep breath before responding. "Sometimes people act out of fear or ignorance. They don't realize how hurtful their words can be. But what's important is that you know your worth and never let anyone make you feel less than you are." Aisha nodded slowly, absorbing Maya's words. "But it still hurts," she admitted. "I know it does," Maya replied empathetically. "And it's okay to feel hurt. Just remember that you're not alone. There are people who care about you and want to help." Their conversation continued as Maya shared stories from her own life, how she had faced challenges, but ultimately found strength through community support. By the end of their chat, Aisha's face lit up with newfound hope. "Thank you for talking to me," Aisha said shyly but sincerely. "I feel better now." Maya smiled warmly, feeling a sense of fulfillment wash over her as she realized how far she had come since that day in the diner when she felt so small and powerless. As months passed, the impact of Inclusivity Day continued to ripple throughout the community, sparking dialogues in schools, workplaces, and homes about respect and understanding across differences. Then came the day when Maya received an unexpected message from one of the men who had bullied her at Sunnyside Eats, the same man who had mocked her in front of others just months prior. He reached out through social media with an apology, a message admitting he had acted poorly and expressing regret for his behavior. He mentioned how witnessing the fallout from his actions had forced him to confront his own prejudices. Maya was taken aback by his message. Part of her felt anger rise again at the memories of humiliation he had caused, but another part recognized this as an opportunity for growth, not just for him, but also for herself. After some contemplation, she decided to respond thoughtfully rather than reactively. "Thank you for reaching out. It takes courage to admit when we're wrong, and I appreciate your honesty. I hope this serves as a lesson not just for you, but for everyone about the importance of kindness." His reply was heartfelt, expressing gratitude for her understanding, while acknowledging he still had much work ahead in unlearning harmful beliefs. In that moment, Maya realized how far she had truly come. Where once there was hurt, now stood an opportunity for healing. Not just within herself, but potentially extending toward others who needed it most. As Inclusivity Day approached again, Maya stood before a crowd once more. This time not just as a survivor, but as an advocate for change. A beacon of hope, illuminating paths toward understanding amidst adversity. The event was bigger than ever, with even more speakers sharing their stories alongside booths representing various organizations dedicated to promoting equality across different spheres within society. As she looked out at the crowd gathered before her, Maya felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude wash over her. This was not just about one person standing against hate. It was about countless individuals coming together united by shared values, rooted deeply within compassion. And so, Maya knew this journey would continue long after today, while challenges may arise along the way. She remained steadfastly committed toward creating lasting change, not only within herself but also throughout every corner of their beloved community. The applause echoed around her once more, a symphony celebrating resilience against adversity, a reminder that love always triumphs over hate when voices unite in harmony.